We are very proud to have Catena Media and CEO Henrik Persson Ekdahl here. And we decided on a language change, so this will be in English.
Yes.
Here's your remote, Henrik.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, and thank you for coming to listening to Catena Media. I'm going to run through the company and what we do. We're going to also touch on a few figures from the company. However, quite sensitive period. In a week, we're presenting our Q1 results in the morning of next Friday. But I'll run you through where we are up until today. So my name is Henrik Persson Ekdahl. I've been the interim CEO for the company for the past 7 months. But I've actually been with the company since it was founded. I have a background in online gambling. I've been active in the online gambling space for the past 15, 20 years, running operators like BetSafe, Best Poker, BetsOn, involved in companies like Nordic Bet, Bet Group, Casino Heroes, etc., etc. So the online gambling space and the tech environment is where I've been growing up and done my career. Over the past couple of years, I will go through the history of Catena Media, which is still a fairly young company. We have focused a lot on building a rock-solid international management. We're a truly global company in what we do in our business model. And you will see management from everything from Google to Facebook, international players from UK, Japan, and the US. About the company, so what do we do? What purpose do we feel in the industry that we work in? We are a lead generator. So we are the company that drives users online. If you look at the picture here up, everything starts from the left. In any industry that we're in, everything starts with a customer. Doesn't matter if it's online gambling or it's online finance or if it's traveling or whatever industry it is, the customer makes the choice. Our product is on the left-hand side here, the big box, which is the Catena Media platform. So we build products where people go online to compare or read up. We do it in sports, we do it for casino, we do it for financial trading. If you want to do, start investing with Saxo Bank or Avanza, we write reviews and we guide them where we think it's best for them in their local language or in their, if they're based in Germany or if they're in the US or if they're in Sweden, what's best for them there. We currently run close to 300 products, but I would guide you that 35 to 40 of them is making most of our revenue. So as I said, we're a lead generator. We help the users and the buyer and the investor to make a choice. We do this through different methods, through search. So when people want to make a decision, they normally go to Google, they go to Yahoo, they might go to Facebook, they might go to Instagram. We try to be wherever people are online and guide them where they... So if you go to Google, you search safe investment platforms. We would then have a product that would review the best platforms on the internet to do financial trading. You would then go to one of our customers. The customers we work with, you see on the right-hand box here. So we work in the gambling space with everything from Golden Nugget, Caesars Palace, Ladbrokes, Bet365, William Hill. On the financial side, we worked with Saxo Bank, Avanza. We work with CMC Markets, several different banks. To give you a flavor, in Q4 2017, we worked with over 600 different companies. We worked with over 1,000 brands. We try to build a sustainable business model where we don't rely on any specific product, no specific customer. So try not to have one product that stands for more than 10% of our revenue. Don't try to have one customer of ours that would be over 10% of our revenue. And we work on a no cure, no pay model. So we only get paid by our customers once we have sent a person that starts investing or starts playing for real money. So there is no upfront fees with us. And that's why we can have the margins we'll have and the growth that we're having that I will show later in the presentation. So we get paid 4 ways, either through rev share, which is our biggest model. So rev share is we get the percentage of the net earnings or the net revenue on the customers for life. So if you start investing and you do that for 2 years, we normally get a percentage between 40 to 50% of the net revenue from that customer during that period. You take a break for 2 years and come back year 5, we will still be our customer. So there's a lifetime agreement with us. Cost per acquisition, which is the second arrow there, is a one-time payment. So for the gambling space, we would get something between 200 to 400 euros, while in the financial space, we can get up to 1,000 euros for a client. It's a one-time payment, and those are in specific jurisdictions, like in the US, where we are very large and we invest a lot of money. We can only get paid by one-time payments. It is still not legal to do rev share. The same we do in France, and we will do in Italy, etc. Hybrid, the fourth one down, is a mix between rev share and CPAs. So that's where we would do 25-30% rev share, and then we'll do 100 to 150 in CPAs, one-time payment. And fixed fee is the closest we get to a traditional advertisement. We have products that are so dominant in the space that they're in, so we'll actually get a fixed fee for the brands wanting to be visible on that web page or that product. So it's a loop. So we are the true backbone in any industry that we're in. So we are the guys who's coming with the customers. We come with the value and help our clients to make a decision. You would see that in industries like traveling, where you would go to hotels.com or booking.com. You would see this if you want to compare electricity contracts or download books online or music online. We are those platforms. Still, we are quite a young company. We were founded in 2012. We've been very active and we've been trying to run as fast as we possibly can. We became a listed company on Nasdaq First North in February 2016. We then moved the company over to Stockholm Nasdaq Midcap by September 2017. On the right-hand side, you'll see a number after every year. That's the amount of transactions we have done. And when I say transaction, it's M&A, actually buying other products and other companies. I'll come back to that later as well. We are today the world's largest lead generator within the gambling space, by far, I would say. We now, in Q4, we moved into the financial sector, but what we are good at, the core of our business, is to drive traffic. Know the users, what do they want? What do they like to click? What kind of offers do they want? So in the long term, we can drive traffic anywhere. It's just happening to be online gambling because that's where we come from. We now moved into the financial. When I say financial, we're talking stocks, bonds, CFDs, and FX trading. It is not mortgage loans or credit cards. That could come, but we're not there yet.
Not binary betting?
No binary options, no. Shareholder list, just to give you a flavor who's invested in this company. Largest shareholder is Optimizer Invest, which is my company. We then have everything from Swedbank Robur, Öresund, Second AP Fund. We have several other pension funds, Familjen Olsson. We also see a lot of traction now from the US, Germany, France. So we have in the US, we have the Sequoia Fund, Rowan Cunniff, Lucerne Capital, that is coming in. Based on the fact that we are the largest lead generator for gambling in the US as well. We have our own licenses in the US, both in New Jersey and Nevada, and we're now applying for Pennsylvania, which will be the 4th state in the US to regulate online gambling. Company culture, when you are 5 years old, and we're 300 people full-time thinking lead generation. We are 140 freelance journalists writing content and producing material for our products. We invested heavily in 2017 in our offices. We built brand new office in Malta. We built office in Belgrade. We built office in London. So this is just a few snap pics of how it would look in one of our offices. As I said, this is our reach and where we have staff. You see, Malta is our main hub where we're close to 180 people. London, which is our second biggest, we're around 50. Belgrade in Serbia, we're around 50. We are 15 in the US. We will be closer to 20 before the summer. We also have an office in Tokyo, in Japan, with 8 people. And we have presence in Australia as well with 2 people. So we're truly global. But when I say we're the largest lead generator for gambling in the world, our focus has still only been the Nordics, UK, Germany, and the US. So we're still small in the big picture. Just some more pictures. We have everything from our own gym in the Malta office. We have our own kitchen, our own chefs to be able to provide them the best nutrition that we possibly can. Mission, vision, where do we want to be? You know, as I said, we started off in online gambling. Our mission is to transform any industry we decide to be in through the power of choice. We believe that the way we purchase things today is by comparing. You know, we want to make sure that we get the best possible for the money we're willing to spend or invest. To become the world's #1 provider of online leads, you know. My grand vision for this company is that we can become the largest lead generator in the world non-stop. We will do that through organic growth, but also through M&A. Q4, just to give you a flavor on the size of this company, we did 20.1 million euros in revenue in Q1 or in Q4. We did EBITDA result of 11.1, which is a 55% EBITDA margin. We grew the company just between Q3 and Q4 16%. I'll talk about NDC. So I said we work on a no cure, no pay basis, and NDCs means new depositing clients. So that's when a client actually made a deposit or an investment for real money. That's the only time we get paid. We did 113,000 NDCs in Q4. Looking at annual basis, you know, 67 million euros in revenue, 36 million in EBITDA, a blended EBITDA multiple over the full year for 53%. We sent close to 400,000 new buying clients, and we grew the company 70% year over year. See the NDCs again, the customers we're sending. This is Q1 when we first got listed. So steady growth. We grew almost 100% year over year in 17 in traffic. And traffic is what we measure. That's what we get paid for. I've jumped around here a bit. But why we can have such margins, you know, is because people choose to come to our products. We're not buying traffic to get there. You see blue and red out to the right, Q4. 17 million of our 20.1 was organic traffic. That is when people wanted by themselves go to our product to do the reviews and read up. They have Googled, they have Yahoo, or they have gone to Facebook. We haven't bought them. The 3.1 in Q4 is when we have paid. It's when we have bought, you know, Google clicks or AdWords in specific countries. That's more cream on the cake for us. Our core business is to build products that people want to come to by themselves. Revenue split, we started off as very, very casino back in 2016 with 95%. You see in Q4, we are still 66% casino, but we're 29% sports as well, and we have 5% finance. Finance was the first time we did in Q4 and still grew quite quickly here. EBITDA growth, as I said, record quarter in Q4, 11 million in Q4 with a 55% EBITDA margin. We often get the question, how sustainable is your margins? You know, probably on the stock exchange, we are the company with the highest margin. You see from Q1 to 16, 58, 55, 55, 53, 49, 53, 55, 55. So I think we've shown that we can have stability. To give you a flavor, in Q1, we were in 2016, we might have been 50, 60 people. We're now 300 over there. So I think we've been good at maneuvering, you know, our cost portfolio over the years while growing. This is just to highlight our cost in comparison to revenue. They seem to have stabilized around 35% cost as of revenue. M&A, coming to that, you know, we are driven, we are fast-paced, we have a world dominance kind of attitude internally. So in 5 years, we have done 33 acquisitions, on average 1 every 6 weeks. We have a dedicated M&A team of 3 people just scouting the globe for new targets. When we say buying companies, we're literally not buying companies. We're buying assets. We're buying the product online, and we taking key staff from that unit and moving them into our organization, buying them into our Catena core system. We then try to scale them as fast as possible. Normally, EBITDA multiple has between 2 and 6, and by that we actually have a dedicated team, and we know to do it efficiently. We see as a great strength compared to our competitors. This is just some of the assets or products that we have bought over the years and in different countries. They are very different from everything from Betting Pro in Australia, which is very much like a sports newspaper, to Poker Scout in the US, which is the dominant poker comparison websites in the US. Okay, so how do you finance this? You know, this massive pace in M&A, both taking care of the organization but also financing it. So in Q1 this year, we did a bond. We did a total framework of 250 million euros. In 10 days, we raised 150 million euros from 88 investors. We had an old bond, so we refinanced that one with 100 million. Around a month ago, we got 50 million euros into the bank account. We also have a carve-out of a potential bank credit of 30 million euros that we can take up in addition, and we can tap another 150. So if we have 50 now, we could have a bank credit of 30. We can tap another 100, then 180. We also have, based on our run rate that I showed from Q4, we have a run rate of around 45 million EBITDA per year. We have great cash conversion. So you're talking about the next 3 years, we should have above 200 million euros cash for potential M&A, which puts us in a true driving seat in our industry. We have a financial target that we announced in Q4, that our aim is to do 100 million euro EBITDA, a billion Swedish crown profit in 2020. Some of our latest acquisitions, we bought into the US recently in the Q1 this year, when we bought our second product in the US, bonusseekers.com. Less than 4 weeks ago, we actually bought into the French market, which is one of the regulated European markets for online gambling, where we bought the dominant sports site in Paris Sportifs. We want to grow sports both long term. It's a great asset for it. But don't forget, we have a mega event happening this summer with the World Cup in football. It's going to be the biggest sport event that we have seen ever, we believe. Focus on M&A. Yes, we have. We're continuing to look in France, as we said before. We look in Italy, Spain, Portugal, continue in the US, Germany, Japan, Australia, and that is both for sports and for the finance vertical. So it's not only gambling. I talk a lot about the US. US is something that, for us who's been in the gambling space for the amount of years we have been, the US has always been the holy grail. That is what everybody talks about. Today, there are only 3 states that regulate gambling: New Jersey, Nevada, and Delaware. The 4th now becomes Pennsylvania, which was put into law in October last year. We work with all the big casinos. We work with all the big groups locally there. We have presence there. We already have assets that we're making good money and good returns on. We also are now filing our license for Pennsylvania here during the next couple of weeks. And we see good returns. But what is about to happen here? So what happened when Pennsylvania got regulated here last year was that all the other states, or a lot of other states, started to move that we hadn't seen before. So suddenly on the East Coast, you now have New York, Michigan, Illinois, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Connecticut. Give you a flavor, Pennsylvania in itself is 14 million people. One state is bigger than Sweden. We have prepared for this. So we today have our brands positioned in 24 different states, but we do not sell the traffic. We don't sell the leads. It's more news. So we are prepared when a state opens up, like Pennsylvania or New York or whatever would happen. Something that has been taboo and not talked about much is sports betting in the US. US has a very, very big sports interest. You know that if you have been there. High school sports, university sports is massive. gambling or betting on that has been haven't been talked about. Now, we expect by June this year that the Supreme Court will take a decision on sports betting, and there's already 20 states who is lined up that are positive to regulate it, to control the black market for sports betting, because even if it's not regulated, it still has been there. So that is what we're seeing now. If that verdict is positive in any way, the market for sports betting online is projected to be $3 billion by 2023. So we wouldn't say we take a bet on the US. We have taken a strategic decision that we are there, and we should be there, and we are number one there. Summary before questions. We have continued very strong growth, both organically and through M&A. We have now scaled our organization to take the next step. We now have really solid management on all top positions, which for a young company is always hard, scale, to the amount of growth that we're having. We have that in place now. We're ready to do the next push, both within sports and finance. We have a strong M&A pipeline. We're always in a discussion between 2 and 3 companies all the time. We have leads of around 3 to 5 new companies approaching us weekly. And we believe that we have the financing platform in place to continue what we started 5 years ago. So, I've said it before, we're quite optimistic. What we were able to build from scratch to where we are today in 5 years, with the resources we had then, comparing with the resources we have now in the structure, it's going to be interesting to see what we can do the next 5 years. I made time. Questions?
Okay, thank you, Henrik. Very exciting.
Thank you.
Help me out here. Who's the number 1 football player in the world? Number 1 ranked right now. I'm bad at this. Is it Messi? Ronaldo. Okay.
It's a matter of opinion. It could have been a fight there.
What do you think?
I try to stay out of it. I always cheer for the underdog.
You go for the leads. Yeah. Okay. Talking about leads, to me as an outsider, it's surprising that a company can become.
Yeah.
You're such a successful lead generator. Your presentation clearly proves that, and also Pareto put out a strong buy. They said, "Look at this growth. That's as close to emotional as a stock analysis I get, and a buy rating." But what is your secret sauce? We don't see here. Why are you so good at generating leads? What do you do? I mean, I realize it is a secret sauce, but give us some flavor of how you cook it.
Now, I think as market matures, I think we've seen this in the Nordic. You put on TV, you see all kind of different gambling brands, and people get confused. We have tried to filter all the information into a platform where they can read up, they can compare, they can better understand the market, and there's a search for this kind of information from the public now in any industry. We built product where people can really read up and understand what is out in the market, and we guide them where we believe is the best for them. We also need to make sure, for us as a company, we have similar contracts with all our partners. So for us, we wouldn't make more or less whoever they start to. So we try to stay independent and put good reviews on the companies that we believe is good in that market. Secret sauces in the sense that you need to be able to know the customer. Not in the sense that I know your names, but I know buying patterns, or what kind of offers do you like? When do you do your purchase, and when do you want to invest? For a Swedish user, you might not want to push US stocks. You're more interested in what's happening in the Swedish market, or for Swedish sports, you want to see that. You're not interested in NBA, like the US customers would be. So it's a matter of localizing the offer and the product for the user who is seeing it. That I think we've been very, very good at.
Okay, thank you. So the mission was to transform any industry we choose to be in through the power of choice.
Yes.
That's
strong statement.
It's got a nice ring to it. But give us an example. If you took a pick, what would be another industry where your model would produce these types of results?
Yeah. Now, I think in any industry this can be done. We have seen very traditional industries. I'm not saying that we should move into them because they're very competitive, but see travel. It's great look at the, when you buy your flight tickets, you know, there's very few people actually going to one of the airlines anymore. They go to Skyscanner or whatever for hotel rooms, we met with the Marriott executive team. They have today, the latest we got was that only 10% of their traffic and bookings come to their website. Normally they come from booking.com or hotels.com or similar. So they have truly transformed an industry, and that you would see happening in any dating, or it could be anything else basically, where we now see great examples. We have a huge Swedish success in Lendo, where you compare loans. So you can see what's out there in the market. We have decided to be gambling in our finance. I'm confident and I'm positive that we're going to be number one in the financial space as well.
Okay. If we move to another subject, regulated versus unregulated gaming, I guess regulation is gaining market share. Where are we? 100% of the gambling in the world, how much of that is regulated as of now? Do you have a number?
No, I don't, but very little, I would say. Very. You look at
below 10%?
I would say so, yes. You look at the US, there's only 3 states now, 4. Look at Asia, there's nothing yet, and it's a massive market. We took a decision a couple of years ago to only focus on markets that is regulated or to become regulated. So you would see that 60% of our revenue from the gambling space is already from regulated countries. When we're now looking at acquisitions, we go into France, we look at Italy, we look at Portugal, we look at US regulated states. We took that decision because it was more important for us to, provide stability for ourselves and for our investors than to take short-term gains in some of these countries. So we have hold back in countries where we could monetize, because we don't see that those countries have even a tendency to regulate going forward.
But I guess the job for a lead generator in regulated, when a market regulates, like Sweden just got regulated, and it was very debated and looked upon as crappy half job. But your job changed overnight when the regulation came in.
What's
you
happened?
Work differently.
We work, because when it's not regulated, we cannot use that, the new platforms like Facebook or Instagram or YouTube, where we need our own licenses in regulated countries. So when Sweden's now going to regulate, it's actually going to be an opportunity for us, because then we can suddenly, start that engine. So for now, for Sweden, we are active in Sweden because it's what we classify as soon to be regulated. We can only do traditional search, Google, Yahoo, or YouTube search, which happens, and Facebook search. So when a country regulates, it actually opens up better opportunity for us. While if you look in Sweden, for many of our customers, which would be the gambling companies, they have been able to do pretty much what they wanted to. They do TV advertisement, they do radio, they do billboards, they do sponsorships, but that's not the means that we have to reach our clients. We're truly digital, so we don't do offline marketing to attract traffic to our products.
Okay. If we look at the concept new depositing customer, and if you could expand a bit on that. I know Betsson a couple of years ago talked about the multi-brand strategy, and they talked about gaming. It's kind of sensitive, and a player gets a player name, he registers to a site. But what Betsson told me, that's like 4 years ago, they said when the player loses, he hates that name, so he creates a new identity. So this is new depositing customers. Is that actually new depositing customer identities?
Yeah, what's happening here is that we work with banks or gambling companies. So you should only be able to register and become a customer once, because it's only you. You cannot change name in the sense that you are what you are. But we can actually, you can play with Betsson, for instance. You stop playing there, you go back to our product, and then okay, I really want to try Ladbrokes. So you go to Ladbrokes, and then you become a new depositing client with Ladbrokes for us. So the same person who goes through our website can become a new depositing clients at different companies. So from an investor point of view, if you compare us to a traditional gambling company or a financial institution, you can see us as a fund. Through working with Catena Media, you invest in, as I said, in Q4, we worked with 600 different companies. It's like spreading the risk. In the event that you invest into an operator or a bank institution, something happens with that, we see that our risk spread is something that favors us. But as I said, a new depositing client is the first time that user makes a deposit or an investment with that client of ours. That's how it works.
A question from the audience? Yes?
I have a question. How do you address maybe the changes in algorithms for when Google change?
Oh, they do, yeah.
Yeah.
Great question. You know, Google is one of our partners. We work with third parties. It's Google, it's Facebook, or it's Yahoo, or if it's Instagram. They're all our partners. Google, they change their algorithm every day. It's not once a quarter, it's not once a week. They do changes to that algorithm every day. And they favor content-driven products. You know, products that is updated on a daily basis with relevant content. Google's big task for us is to filter information. So if you search on kid-friendly parks in LA, you shouldn't get kids-friendly parks in Dubai. Then they're failed. So as long as you can do relevant content for the relevant search terms, Google will favor. Google also starts to favor direct traffic. So if they see that the product has a lot of returning clients to the web page, that means that it's a popular web page and probably something that people like to go to. So that comes up as a favorable thing for them as well. So the old school where you just link into a product and try to make Google think that you're big, it's not working anymore. You need to build products, you need to build brands that people want to come to, and that's our strategy. So we have our own product teams that runs everything from Betting Pro, Ask Gamblers. You know, Ask Gamblers itself is 40 people full time, only thinking that brand. So Catena Media is like, what should I compare it to? Procter & Gamble. You know, you have Catena Media as a holding, Procter & Gamble has different products, we have the same. Sports, and then we have under there, we have specific, we have casino, we have poker, we have horse racing, we have stock trading, we have CFDs, etc.
It's kind of amazing if you go back to the millennium hype, and then a big thing on the stock exchange was company building web pages. Now any kid does it, but then you take search optimization and lead generation on the internet, which you might think as an outsider would be very simple and standardized, and now you beat large gaming companies to it, and they acquire you to, or they hire you to do the job. Yeah.
No, I think the projection when they first heard about Catena Media, they were seeing a bunch of 20-year-olds sitting in an apartment in Malta, and when people come there, it's like, wow, it's like, holy, what's happening here? It's a big organization. We are well structured. We have a very high pace. It's super cool. If anybody want to come visit, really do that, because it's an eye opener to see how powerful lead generation is, not only in our industry but in most other industries these days.
Final question from the audience. Yes.
So can you comment a little bit on the acquisitions that you've done and the financial results from the ones afterwards? And also, it looks like most of them have been a true success. Also, if you can comment on someone that hasn't been equally good started.
Yeah. No, as we have done 33 for the past now plus 5 years. Most of them has developed really nicely. With 33, there's always a few that's not going to perform as good, but all of them are live. We're all making money out of them, and there is no one of them we did a few in the early days that when we were 214, but they were good learning experience and they were cheap in that sense. Now our strategy and the ones that we have bought now, we've been very open with that. Try to go regulated. Try to add products that we don't have. Try to add languages that we don't have, so we can roll out other of our products into those countries. So we get the teams in place to do so. The overall, we're happy with the performance. It clearly shows. I think in Q4 we reported 28% organic growth, but through acquisitions we did even higher. But I think it's taken us years to learn how to do it very efficiently. And that's why we are more comfortable now to do bigger acquisitions, and that's why we also have the bigger financial backing than we had 2 years ago. We wouldn't have been ready to do the bigger moves then as we have been able to do now.
Okay. Thank you, Henrik.
Thank you.
And Catena Media.
Thank you for having me. Tack.